What's up, Vector family? It's Luke Leasing here again at Vector Algorithmics. Today I'm joined by one of our earliest members to ever join Vector and someone I would say that's definitely popular within the community. Name is Luke, but we call him Clicks. Clicks, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. It's great to finally have this opportunity to chat because we've actually never spoke face to face in this manner. And you obviously make a lot of noise in our Discord community because you help out a lot of new members. You don't work for Vector, so you're just out here helping people. But before we even get into like what you're doing now, why don't you tell us about how you started with Vector and how your experience earlier on was? And you could be completely transparent with how everything went down a couple of years back.
Sure. Yeah. No. So it was late 2022, about 2.5 years ago. I was in a group with some crypto friends in a Discord. We had been trading crypto together for about 4 years. And one of those guys was like, "Hey, I've got a buddy. He's doing this algo trading thing for futures." I knew nothing about trading futures. The most stock investment experience I had was just investing in my IRA, my 401k. Right. And so the crypto guys presented this new idea, and I'm like, sure, let's give it a shot, right? Let's jump over here. And we jumped into the Vector Discord. And I think at the time Vector had like 6 range strategies. And the range strategies are strategies that try to win a very small amount of money very quickly on any given day. And if they do happen to lose, they would lose like a decent chunk of money, but overall they had been profitable over their prior like 3 or 4 months, like crazy profitable, right? The team was saying, oh yeah, we've got great strategies. Everyone had the impression this was easy money, and we all jumped on board. We got our evaluation accounts. We passed them super quickly, which even at the time was unheard of for algo trading communities. Just passing the evals was super difficult. We passed them like crazy. We got our PAs up and running. We started trading accounts, and I made a bunch of money in the first like 3 weeks. And then the market changed, right? Something fundamentally changed with these range strategies. And we had a catastrophic, I think it was June or July of the following summer, like 4 months after I joined. And I blew up all my accounts, right? Um, the market just changed, right? And so with Vector over the next year, 2 years, I stuck around. I still believed in the team, right? Even though I had kind of got a reset at that point. I had extracted some money, I had started over, and the team started saying, okay, we're going to come up with new strategies, right? We've got a new one coming out soon. It's this, that, and the other. And the team was really kind of open to evolving with the market, right? If something's not working, you have to fix it, right? So they started adapting, started changing. And then we went through another cycle of getting a new strat, getting a bunch of accounts up and running. I made a decent chunk of money, right? A few $1,000s at the time, which was great. And then I personally over risked, right? I thought, oh man, this thing doesn't lose. I'm going to crank it up to 11, right? And I was like, let's do it. Like, I'm going to crank this up. As long as I don't lose 2 days in a row in the next 2 days, I'll be fine. And guess what happened? I lost 2 days in a row on the next two trades, blew up a bunch of accounts, right? So I learned the hard way that algo trading can be very unforgiving and very unpredictable. Fast forward now to 2025 this year, a bunch of new people have joined. I feel like the Vector Discord has just absolutely blown up, right? We had this group of OGs, we had this group of 30 people 2.5 years ago that has now blown up into hundreds of people. And we have these strategies that feel too good to be true, right? And this is kind of where I feel like Vector wanted to be 2.5 years ago. Have people come in and say, hey, we've got these strategies. You literally run them, you leave them alone, and they make good money. And they're safe for the prop firm accounts. They don't hit the drawdown, right? They've been specially tailored for these things. And it's working, right? I mean, I'm currently in a trade right now. It's break even at the moment, but it's a profitable trade, whether I win or lose. Comfortable to let them run. Uh, I started a cash account about 6 weeks ago, and it's made $12,000 in 6 weeks, which is crazy. If you look at,
Dang.
I mean, it's a 20K cash account. It's made $12,000, like a 60% return in 6 weeks, which is just bonkers, right?
Wow.
Obviously, it's a large capital investment up front, but the fact that it can relatively safely just make money running these strats is wild, right? And then on top of that, the prop firm accounts that I'm running are also making fractions of that money because I have to run them safely, but they've made a tenth of that much across 16 other accounts. So you could safely say that in 6 weeks, I'm up, what, $25,000 technically, right? Even though prop firms are kind of the enemy in this ecosystem. And this is kind of where I'll transition into the words of caution for people, right? Is you can go into prop firms, you can make money, you can trade your accounts, you can go to get your money out of these prop firms, and they'll say, nah, like you broke a rule or you did something wrong, right? And they're getting more and more and more strict as we go. And I guess the kudos I would give to Vector is they're always trying to adapt to this, right? And they're saying, okay, well, Apex now doesn't like if you take a trade that has a stop loss that's too big, or if you have a downswing that's too large. They adjust for that, they change it, and people just have to kind of follow and be willing to change. This is where I think most people will fail with joining Vector. I mean, Vector, it's profitable, right? It works, it's been proven to work. So many people fail because they either get greedy, they over risk trying to get rich quick or try to offset membership fees with withdrawals. And they'll say, oh, I'll pay my membership fee. I'll crank everything up super high like I did 2 years ago. And I'll quickly make enough money to kind of cover my costs and be net positive. And that will bite you, right? Because in these early stages with these prop firm accounts, you have to take your time, right? You have to build up your foundations so that you have room to breathe and you can run these accounts to make the money on them. If you're trying to maximize everything to the limit, you are the exact customer that prop firms want buying accounts from them because they're going to blow up and you're going to have to start over. And so I
Wow.
tell people just trust the process, take it slow, don't overextend or overinvest yourself, right? And don't think that you have to rush any of this because the dream scenario is you join, you slowly build up accounts for 3 months, get a nice fat buffer of profit across, let's say, 20 performance accounts, and then just start pulling minimum withdrawals out of them every 2 weeks, right? And they're safe. They can just keep trading. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to stress about it. And you just pull them out, right? And I know I've been going on and on here. I'll let you ask some more questions here in a moment. But again, emotions still play a huge part in this, right? People come in and they say, this is supposed to be hands off. I'm not supposed to have to intervene. And then they'll be in the Discord and someone will say, hey guys, like I would move your stop loss to break even. Like I don't like what the market's doing, right? And they'll give some advice that says, like, do something manual, right? That's all that is just a suggestion, right? People hear that and they think, oh, this isn't hands off, right? This isn't an automatic thing. Like I shouldn't have to touch this. And the true story is you don't have to touch it, right? But people do. They get into a trade like the trade today. It went 50% of the way to profit and then it came back to break even. And a lot of people might panic. Be like, oh no, 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 it's going the other way. Like close the trade, right? And they'll lose $100. And then fast forward 2.5 hours from now, the market's trended up and we've hit both take profits, and people in chat are posting like $800 wins on all of their PAs. And people are like, oh, what the heck? This doesn't work. Like, why did I lose money? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, because you got in your own way, right? And that's going to be the killer, right? Is you have to trust the process. You have to be emotionally stable with seeing things go red from green, right? And taking losses, right? Many of our new members joined Vector and they joined on a very bad week, right? Let's be honest. And they took 4 losses in 2 weeks on a strategy that had never taken more than 2 losses in a row for like 2 years. And you just have to kind of be able to roll with those punches, right? And understand that this is profitable. It does work. You just have to go slow and not get in your own way.
Wow. Honestly, like everything you just said there for the last few minutes is the advice I think not only algo traders need to hear, but just traders in general, because you just emphasize the fact that it's important to remove the emotional aspect of it. Really, I want to what I would want to know, Clicks, is on a personal level, because there's never been a day, maybe unless you're traveling, that you did not engage in a Discord. On a personal level, why do you feel compelled to help all of the new members join? Because it always seems like you're giving advice, you're correcting people, helping people out. Why do you always help out these new people, especially when you're not being compensated for it, at least directly?
maybe it's this weird itch that I like to scratch with statistics and numbers and finance and stuff, and I just like being kind to people, right? But it brings me joy, and it's a nice distraction from my actual 9 to 5 job that I work, to be able to pop into Discord and teach someone something that I feel is very fundamental, right, or very clear to me, like, talking to someone about a win rate versus a profit to loss ratio, and someone says, "Oh, I did my back test and the win rate is 90%," right? And I have to explain to them, "Okay, let's talk here," right? Because you have to educate yourself and understand that a 90% win rate doesn't necessarily mean a strategy is good. Maybe it only makes $10 when it wins, but it loses 1,000 when it loses, right? A 90% win rate when that happens is horrendous, right? You're going to lose all your money. And so I just enjoy helping people. I do feel passionate that Vector is something fantastic, right? And I think it can really change a lot of people's lives. Um, but it does involve effort from each person. And it's so easy for newer members or inexperienced members to spread misinformation. And I personally feel like I kind of owe it to like the Vector team for all the work they put into these strategies to make sure that people aren't coming into Vector Discord and saying a bunch of inaccuracies or trying to like tear down what you guys have all built, right? And again, I have no stake or no interest in this, but I feel like these people are sort of my friends or my family to some extent, right? And I figure, well, you know what? Why not be kind to them, right? Because you're not going to get anywhere in life being a dickhead, so to speak, right? I mean, and I came from crypto, and that's really this transition, right? As I was in the crypto space, and I got this like rock in my heart that just felt wrong, right? Because in crypto, it always felt like you were taking money from someone else when you would like buy an NFT and you would flip it and dump it on someone, and then the NFT would crash and go to zero. And someone on the other end of that just lost a bunch of money. With trading futures, the person on the other end is like institutional money, right? That we're fighting against. So really, we're not like hurting individuals, right? As much as you would be in something that's maybe feels a bit more dishonest to me. And so
Yeah.
it's like having plants in your house, right? All I'm doing is watering my plants, right? That's my contributions to this Discord is making sure everything's green, trimming off the dead leaves, and just kind of keeping things looking good.
Wow. Dang. That's some deep stuff right there. Just to close it all out, if someone was listening and they were a net new trader, brand new trader, what piece of advice would you give them when it comes to algo trading, manual trading? What would you tell that new trader?
I would tell them to make sure you actually understand what's going on. I think people come in with the unrealistic expectations that they can just join, click a few buttons, and make a bunch of money. And maybe that is true to some extent, but I do think you're going to get a lot more out of your time at Vector and your time trading futures if you actually dig in a little bit and understand what's going on. And that is also going to translate into you feeling more comfortable like watching a trade, right? And not panicking and not letting your emotions get in the way of everything. If you don't understand what's going on, you're way more likely to mess up, right? And cause yourself to lose money or accounts or lose your trust in what Vector's offering you. A little bit of education goes a long way. People in the Discord always ask repeat questions, the same questions. There's a lot of kind of panic and hysteria at times if we've taken a loss. And I would just caution people like take a breath, step back just a sec, and like ask a clear question or open Chat GPT and just say, Chat GPT, what is an FVG? I don't know what that is. Right. And get that little bit of information because it's going to help you really understand the effort that goes into this and the reasons why like a trade today shorted and it immediately turned around and ran the other direction. And I saw in chat people were like, why would it take this trade? That was terrible. It shorted at the bottom. This strategy is not good. Right. And the reality of it is, well, no, the strategy is good. One trade is not going to be the deciding factor of whether a strategy is good or not. And that is you have to let this run months, right? I would recommend someone don't place judgment for at least 2 months because that's going to give you 5 trades a week for 2 months. You're looking at 40 trades, right? That's actually a pretty decent sample size. of trades to look at a strategy and say, okay, has this strategy actually made money? Rather than coming into Vector and thinking my first two trades are going to win, right? Because that's not always the case. So,
Yeah. Solid golden advice, brother.
for sure.
Solid. Um, I think that's why most people are impressed with what you do in Discord because you're clearly the type of trader that's completely level-headed, does not worry, does not panic, lets the trade run, win or lose, right? Even before jumping on this call, I close out a trade in the green, and then you're like, "Ah, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna let it run, right? Like, and you're
Yeah.
trading on a live account. I'm not currently trading on a live account. I'm just trading prop firms. So, clicks.
Mm.
It's an honor. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you.